Hi everyone, welcome to Basic Science Series. I'm your host Lokinder Kumar, and today we are going to design plant cell. You can see that I've already designed individual components, and you can see that I have a good looking plant cell that I've already designed, right? I'm going to follow the step of using these individual components to design this particular complete plant cell. And while I'm using these components to design this cell, I'm also going to discuss the function of each component in detail, right? So I hope this video is going to help you to understand the functioning of the plant cell as well as what are the structures that are important for the plant cell to survive. So without delay, let's jump on to the lecture part. All right, everyone, let's start the lecture and let's start designing the plant cell wall. First, as you can see, I have all the components, different components of the plant cell specifically, already designed here. And what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to design the plant cell using these components, and I'm going to discuss the functions of these components one by one so that you can understand the whole composition of the plant cell and also understand what are the different functions of each component of the plant cell, right? So let's start with the cell wall. So I have this is the outline that I have designed for the cell wall. And let me tell you something about the plant cell wall. Plant cell wall is basically a very rigid cell wall, and it has a complex structure. The main role of this particular cell wall is to protect the cell so that the plant cell can perform all the functions that are important for its survival, right? And another important thing about the plant cell wall specifically is as it's present in plants, and it may depend upon specifically its type may depend upon the developmental stage of the cell and also the different types of plant cells. And the basic structural component of the plant cell is cellulose, hemicellulose, and also pectin. These are the major components of the cell wall. And sometimes there are more complex structures like lignin is also present inside the plant cell wall. So basically this is the general information that I want to tell you about the plant cell, specifically plant cell wall. So here we have the structure. So let me just make it a little bigger so that you can see it clearly. The next component that I'm going to incorporate in this particular structure is the membrane. So immediately after the cell wall, we have this cell membrane, and it is also known as plasma membrane. The structure of this is also complex. It's not a single layer, it's a phospholipid bilayer. And the role of this particular membrane is to separate the interior of the cell from the outside environment, and it's semipermeable. Right? And its main function is to transport the material from inside to outside and outside to inside of the cell. And also one of the major component of the particular cell membrane is the phospholipid, and the phospholipid structure is it has a hydrophobic end and it has a hydrophilic tail. Right? So this is a kind of the basic structure of the phospholipid of the plasma cell membrane. So from here, the next component that I'm gonna design or I'm gonna create here is the cytoplasm. So basically the cytoplasm of any cell includes the gel-like material that is present inside the cell, and it can be really a complex material plus all the organelles that are present, not the nucleus. Nucleus has its own plasm it's also known as nucleoplasm, right? So cytosol plus organelles are known as the cytoplasm of the cell. And as you can see, I will design all the organelles, and we'll discuss the function of all the components. And one of the interesting fact about the cytoplasm is it's 80% water. So most of the cytoplasm has the major component, that is water. And then let's bring the important structure of any cell, the genetic material, and in this case the genetic material is present in the form of nucleus, and nucleus is a membrane bound organelle. You need to remember that this particular structure that I'm revolving just to show you is the nucleus, and the nucleus is basically the genetic material. It encloses the genetic material of the plant cell, and as I already mentioned you, that it also contains the nucleoplasm. The interesting fact, in case of some of the human cells, you have no nucleus. That means nucleus is completely absent, for example in case of RBCs, and some of the cells that contains many nucleus, for example osteoclasts. These are the cell that has lot of nucleus, and in nucleus basically the genetic material is in the compact form. The compact form of the genetic material is chromosomes, and chromosomes are basically DNA plus histones, and we will discuss all those different basic or detailed components of these organelles in our future videos. But at this particular point I just wanted to mention you that okay, there is a particular organelle inside a plant cell that is known as nucleus, and it has the genetic material enclosed inside it, right? And then you have Nucleolus. Nucleolus is the part of nucleus. So what is the function of Nucleolus? Is basically its function is ribosomes. Biogenesis is the main function of Nucleolus, and it is really important as far as the functioning of cell is concerned, because during the stress response Nucleolus plays a very important role. And in case of animals, especially in case of humans, Nucleolus has been studied by focusing specifically on the mechanism of cancer, and it right now research is going on to specifically target this particular organelle to generate some kind of cancer chemotherapy. So it's basically I'm trying to say it's really important as far as the stress response of the cell is concerned, right? Okay, so now let's jump on to this another important organelle, that is the endoplasmic reticulum. So here I have designed this particular structure, and it resembles the endoplasmic reticulum. Basically endoplasmic reticulum, they are divided into two types, smooth and rough. Right now I'm just representing just a simple shape of the endoplasmic reticulum, and I'm not differentiating them into rough and the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, but the major difference is the presence of ribosomes. If the ribosomes are present on endoplasmic reticulum, it is known as rough endoplasmic reticulum, and its main function is in protein synthesis, lipid and cholesterol synthesis. That you need to remember. Okay, so this is all about the endoplasmic reticulum. Now I will construct the next, or I'll just simply drag the next structure, that is this one is the chloroplast, and we all know this is really important for plant cell to survive, right? Because it performs the photosynthesis, and we all know that the important component that is required for most of the animals, that is oxygen, is generated because of this particular organelle. It contains chlorophyll as a pigment, and that utilizes the energy from the sunlight to produce the energy molecules, ATP and ADPH molecules, for plant cell to survive, and releasing the most important gas, that is oxygen for us, right? So that is why these organelles, this particular organelle is really essential as far as the functioning of the plant cell is concerned, and also the functioning of the animal cell is concerned. So a lot of different things, a lot of important things depend upon this particular organelle, right? And let's design few more these structures and distribute them around the this plant cell. So because you have a large number of these chloroplasts, they are distributed throughout the plant cell, right? So I'm just trying to give it a nice appearance so that we have evenly distributed chloroplast in our plant cell. So right now we have added nucleus, nucleolus, nucleus, nucleolus, endoplasmic reticulum, chloroplast, and then we will drag the another major component of eukaryotic cell, that is this. So what is this? This is mitochondria. Mitochondria is the most important organelle because it is also known as powerhouse of the cell. It generates the largest supply of the ATP molecule is generated by this particular organelle. That is why it's also known as the powerhouse of the cell. So it is basically the organelle that generates the chemical energy for the cell. Okay, so there are a number of these mitochondria that are present inside the eukaryotic cell. So let me evenly distribute, right, so that we have these particular organelles distributed throughout the plant cell. Okay, so I'm just leaving this space for some for one important reason, because there is a big structure that is present on this particular area. Means most of the space inside the plant cell is occupied by this structure, that is a vacuole, right? So let me place it right here, and I will explain to you what is this structure is. Okay, vacuole. Vacuole in a plant cell is important because it contains water inside the plant cell, and it is really important for the hydrostatic pressure, or it's also known as turgor, within the plant cell. And there are different types of vacuoles. For example, there are gas vacuoles, there are contractile vacuoles, food vacuoles, and central vacuole. In this case, this is known as the central vacuole of the plant cell because it performs various functions. It also, in case of plant cell, it contains some waste product. It also may contain salt, minerals, nutrients, proteins, pigments, and it helps in the growth of the plant cell. So it's a very important structure for the plant cell. Okay, so you need to remember this because it occupies the largest space inside the plant cell. Okay, next important structure is this. Let me zoom in. This is Golgi apparatus, or it's also known as Golgi complex. The main role of this is to pack the proteins that are synthesized, and if the proteins are ready for the degradation, the Golgi apparatus pack those proteins into vesicles. So you can see I have designed these vesicles to just show you that particular function of the Golgi apparatus. So let me make it smaller, and maybe I can squeeze out some space for this, right? Okay, maybe I can have another Golgi apparatus somewhere right here. You know, the important thing in this case to remember is this is our own plant cell. So basically we are free to do and free to distribute and free to design, and basically you can make this plant cell the way you want, right? It's kind of odd. At the same time we are also learning so many things about the plant cell. Okay, so it looks really amazing. We have most of the components that are there that are required, and then we have another important component of the plant cell, that is peroxisome. Let me make it larger. There is no specific structure that I want to show you, but the important part is peroxisomes, they are membrane bound organelles. Okay, they have the membrane outside, and they contain the most important component inside that is present in the cell, that is H2O2, hydrogen peroxide. And H2O2 is important because it plays very important role in case of oxidative reactions. Sometimes there are a lot of toxic molecules, free radicals that are generated inside the cell, and they require neutralization, and peroxisomes, they play an important role in that process. I'm going to distribute these peroxisomes throughout my cell because they are really important for the oxidative reactions, and they are really important for this particular plant cell to survive. Okay, that is why they are also known as peroxisome, because they contains hydrogen peroxide. So you can remember it very easily by their name. What is the function of these peroxisomes, right? And then this red dot, ribosomes, right? Any structure, any living organism or any living cell requires this particular organelle. Whether it's bacteria, whether it's animal cell, or whether it's a plant cell, they all require ribosomes, they all require genetic material. So the basic function of the ribosome is to construct protein by reading the DNA sequence, right? And I have already made some interesting videos on how protein synthesis works, and I'm also going to make more videos on this particular process because this is really interesting and this is really important as far as the functioning of any cell is concerned. These are the vital pathways of the cell, right? And I just fairly distributed these ribosomes, but they are really large in number, and they perform a most important function, that is the construction of the proteins. And we all know proteins are really important, right? They are highly important for the functioning of the various pathways, functioning of the various organelles to generate various molecules that are vital for the cell to survive. So now I am distributing this violet color organelle, and this is known as amyloplast. One thing I want to mention here, that the color that I'm using here is not actually the color that they are present inside the cell, right? It's just to differentiate these structures and to make these particular this particular schematic beautiful and nice, and to differentiate all those structures from each other, right? They are not like amyloplast is not purple in color. Basically, that was the message that I want to convey. All right, so as you can see, we have most of the basic structures that are required for a plant cell to survive, and how they function. It's a really complex biochemistry. Each organelle performs a really complex set of reactions, and on the basis of that, they generate molecules, and the molecules that are generated plays a very important role in the survival of the plant cell. So I really hope that now you have a basic idea about the plant cell, and we have constructed a nice looking plant cell from all those basic components. I have made a video on how to design these components, and this particular structure you can also utilize to build models, actual models, right? So I hope now you have a good idea about the plant cell and the structure of the plant cell, as well as the function of all those components of the plant cell, and it's going to help you in your studies, and as well as if you're preparing for any competitive exams, that's going to help you. So I will see you in my new video, where I'll bring a new organelle or new pathway or structures that we will discuss in detail, right? If you have any suggestions, you can post in the comment section. If you think something else needs to be discussed, you can also post that in the comment section. And I want to thank you for your support, and I want to thank you for being the part of Basic Science Series family and supporting the channel. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you and take care.